Well, it's the Daytona 500. We are back. We are live tonight. NASCAR is back, 75th season. Thank you guys for waiting. I wanted to make sure everything was good. Almost 400 of you guys in here right now. And I have a feeling this race is going to be viewed in a lot of different ways. I'll get to the super chat that was left in a moment. I understand. I see some in the chat saying they're not a fan of it. Others saying they hate it. Others liking it. We're going to get to all that in a moment. And I'd say that, let's see, we got everything good. Can you hear me? I want to know if you can hear me well, if I'm loud and clear. And then we will, we'll be off into this race. All of results right now are definitely unofficial. We have a poll on the community tab of the channel as well, so be sure to vote in the poll. We will talk about all of what happened in the Daytona 500 in a moment. I am going to make sure also that I share this stream. Share it with your friends or family or whoever if you haven't already. And we will also get to those super chats momentarily. Let me share this stream to everybody, and we'll get to it. I want to make sure everybody can wind up and get on in here. I'm sure we have a lot of thoughts about this race, a lot to talk about, and I just see D Nasty in the chat, dude. Joey's toupee. Maybe we'll talk about Joey's hair too while we're at it. But let me share this baby on Twitter. We're gonna, even though I hate Twitter, and we will get right into it. I want to thank all of you guys for waiting, who waited. I want to thank all of you guys who are coming out here tonight. It's been an awesome weekend to celebrate NASCAR being back with you. We'll start out with the super chats, and then we will get into the results. We will get into the race review. We will get into all of it. Tweet us out, and well, let's get to it. All right. And turn off the race here. If there are any updates, let me know in the chat. I will try and keep an eye on everything, but I can only look at so many screens at once. If there are updates to the finishing order, they will be adjusted accordingly. But first off, let's get to these super chats. Starting out with Irvin Alvarado. Jared, I just watched Tom Grassi's reaction stream. It was so damning that Fox with the presentation of this race is bad, and even he said it was bad as a casual. Otherwise, he thinks it was he said it was fun, thanks to us in the chat. I'm glad you guys had fun with that. And yeah, that was probably a very terrible showing for somebody coming into the sport. We will definitely talk about that. I stopped counting with about 20 to go, and I'll just let you know that they were nowhere close to being around a caution every 10 laps. It was like a caution every at one point, I saw a caution every 8 laps on average. Not a caution, a commercial break. It might as well have been a caution. Looking at some of these other super chats in here, Jam_plays games for 2. Suarez's crash ruined the race. Was an 8 out of 10 before. I would say in a lot of ways it did. I wish that crash hadn't happened, because I really think that was a race that would have been really well remembered had that not been the case. By the way, we're closing on 600 already, not 100 likes yet. Let's get some likes on this baby. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed, for the most part, this race until it turned into a caution fest. We will get into all of that in a moment. I want to get to a couple more of these super chats before we get into the results. Hunter Dosso, thank you for the 10. Ricky Stenhouse winning the 500. Did not have that on my NASCAR 2023 bingo card. Also, am I the only one who found the greatest lap segment a bit cheesy, done with the superimposed cars? I didn't watch the pre-race show, so I can't comment too much on that, unless it was during it and I was just working in here or something. But yeah, the CGI stuff is going to get old really quick. I can already tell what's going to happen. Marky Mark, thank you for the 20. This 500 kind of sucks. Did you guys see it? So many commercials, and who the heck wants to shop like a billionaire for the love of ... We will get to a couple more of these in a bit, but for now, let's get into the results of this race. I'm gonna try and hold you guys over until we get post-race inspection finished up, and then we will call that a night. after that. I'm going to turn this off, make sure I have everything good to go. But let's get the ticker up right now so I can show you guys the results, at least at the moment. These are unofficial results, but here's what you got. You got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. winning, Logano second, Christopher Bell third, Chris Buescher fourth, Bowman getting a top 5, Allmendinger 6th, 7th is Suarez, Blaney up to 8th, Chastain 9th, and Riley Herbst getting a top 10. Then Harvick, Zane Smith, Cody Ware, Travis Pastrana, Martin Truex Jr., the top 15. Corey LaJoie, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, and Bubba Wallace, the top 20. Then you got Eric Almirola, Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric, Noah Gragson, Ty Gibbs, I should say, Harrison Burton, Todd Gilliland, Michael McDowell, Daly, and McLeod, the top 30. After that, you got Jimmy Johnson, Justin Haley, Austin Dillon, William Byron, and Briscoe, the top 35. And the final 5 finishers of the event were Ryan Preece, Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, and Ty Dillon. Most of this is unofficial, like I said before, so we don't want to lock it all in stone. But at the moment, that is what the finishing order is looking like. And we will have updates as the night goes on. I will get to those super chats in a bit, I promise. I haven't marked off where we're going to start back up, but there is that. I will say, we're going to talk. Let's talk about the Fox broadcast before we talk about anything else. The broadcast should rightfully be ripped on a ton. I do not disagree whatsoever with that. The broadcast, through and through, for the most part, was pathetic. The audio issues for onboard cars, where they were at seemed like a 10-minute delay. The audio issues they had even in the booth, it just did not seem professional. It did not seem like this is the most watched race in America. It did not seem like that at all. And whatever this gets, unless it has like a 3 million viewership fall off, which I don't think it will because of the promotion and lack of competition. And no, XFL is not competition. It is a pretty pathetic showing. I will say, though, the pre-race show did have the prestige, and it was really well done up until the first commercial break. Now, I counted until like 1 or 2 of the commercial breaks left. I had 23 commercial breaks in the first 180 laps, which, if I can find my calculator, let's see what we got here. 180 laps divided by 23 means they had a commercial break every 7.826 laps. I might have miscounted, but still, that is pathetic on Fox's part, and I don't give a crap what the stupid excuses are that people who defend Fox will say. There is no excuse. There is no reason to have that many. And I will say the same thing if NBC does it. I might keep track of the commercials all season long just to look at this. And again, I might be off 1 or 2 here or there. But no, there was easily a commercial break less than every 10 laps, which, again, and I'm new to this iRacing, I know is a completely different medium, but when you have a broadcast and you're a broadcaster, you get into a rhythm after a while. And I know that back in the day, they had these kind of commercial breaks a lot. But as a broadcaster, it's difficult to get in a rhythm if you have to stop. Literally, 7.82, right? And the lap times were 48 seconds, which means that on average, they had a commercial every 6 or 7 minutes of this race. Again, how are you supposed to get into a rhythm as a broadcaster or as a broadcast team if you're constantly every 6 or 7 minutes having to cut out and leave the action and then come back into it? And some of them were literally, welcome back to the Daytona 500. We come back from commercial break. Kyle Larson is the leader, and we're going to go to another commercial break. Hope you guys enjoyed that little 5 seconds of racing to interrupt your commercial coverage. No, that, in my opinion, is unacceptable. And if Fox is going to stick around another 8 to 10 years like they're saying they want to, if they are going to stick around until 2034, this needs to change and NASCAR needs to be on it. I know with the current, and even with television in general, with the way that the sport is set up, what television is set up, I know you cannot do a commercial-free broadcast at all times. I know that. But they need to find a way to minimize it in at least some way. I understand with old school TV that you have to do that. But it gets to a point where, one, the diehard fan is going to be upset. And when the diehard fan's upset, they should rightfully say how upset they are online. Completely understood. I get that. But how does that look for an outsider coming in? Oh, this racing's pretty good. It's my first commercial break. I'll look on Twitter. I'll see what's going on. Man, everyone is pissed, even though I thought it was good. I guess, maybe it's not that good. You have a new person coming in watching it. They're like, this is awful. This is terrible. Well, then how the hell are they supposed to get into it if there is almost as much time under caution as there is with green flag racing? It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I might call it the Commercial 500. I might edit the name of this stream and call it the Commercial 500. By the way, be sure to click that like button. And I want to thank all of you in here. Over 1,000 in on this stream right now, at least from my view. So I love the support. Let's look at some of the super chats, and then we'll go into point by point what's been going on with this race, because I want to see what you guys think too, along with the chat. I'm trying to keep up with it. But there's so many of you guys in there that it is difficult to keep up with the chat. Again, unofficial results up top. As we get updates, we will edit the finishing results of this race if need be. If not, fine. But first super chat here from 334 Outdoors for 5 saying, I know what's with it. I think this isn't something I was saying before. Ain't got no gas in it. Seriously, one of the better super speedway drivers, super speedway drove it. If we're talking about Suarez, yeah, this was not Suarez's best speed weeks by any means possible. And it's going to be completely overshadowed by how bad this broadcast was. I mean, this race, from people I talked to that were at the track, because there was a lot of friends of mine that were at the track, this race was a really damn good race. And for us at home, we didn't get to see most of that. When it was on TV, it was really good to watch. But when it's hard to say something at this point because it's been going so bad for so long. That's what I think pisses me off, is that we've seen these issues now for 5 or 6 years. Fox has been on the downturn for over a decade now. And fans have over and over again say, just do this, do this. Like small things here and there can help it. And it seems like they don't implement anything until it's too late, which is sad. By the way, with all you in here, I want to let you know we'll be talking more about this on top of anything I say tonight in the NASCAR Weekly Podcast this Wednesday night on Black Flags Matters channel, so be sure to watch that. Let's go to the next super chat here from Beast of Metal 1989 for 10. When a newbie watching his first race can recognize that the broadcast is fundamentally broken, you have a problem. Someone please email the final 15 minutes of Grassi's stream to Fox and NASCAR. I'll admit I turned off Grassi's stream. I wasn't crazy about the presentation personally, but I heard a lot of people had fun with it. I heard he had fun with it. So, outside of the broadcast part. So I'm glad people had fun with it. And yeah, if he has good criticism, send it to Fox, because they need all the good criticism they can get. I'm not going to sit here and say to boycott NASCAR. I'm not going to say any of those dumb things that a lot of people will say. I'm just going to say that right now fans need to be vocal, because even if it doesn't fix Fox, NBC is pretty good at implementing what fans want. Just look at the broadcasts on NBC compared to the broadcasts on Fox last year. Alex Luff for 5, is this a Def Leppard concert? Because as a Logano fan, this race is bringing on the heartbreak. Good reference. I like that one. Maybe they'll make a Def Leppard car next. It sucked about Eric Jones getting caught up in that crash, and we'll talk about his Guns N' Roses car in a moment, because I want that diecast. Hunter Nixon Fishing for 5. Not the best, but not the worst Daytona 500 I've ever seen. Well, I don't know how you really grade it with the way the broadcast was. Read a few more, and then we'll get into the race review here. Another one here from Sachin-born Rhinelander for 5. I'm apologizing if I butcher your name. I'm awful with names. So happy with RFK's performance. Lots of tandem laps led. Stage win, so close. RFK looked extremely strong. Like, the Fords looked strong in general in this race and probably should have won. But, man, they looked amazing. I'm getting a text from a friend here saying I listened to the race on MRN and watched the live feed from Harvick's car and enjoyed it. So yeah, I mean, from what I saw, a lot of people who listened to it and got to watch like the streams that NASCAR had of onboards liked it a lot. One thing, I don't know if people know about this, and I didn't see it on the broadcast. Granted, I was out of the house at that moment. They missed Alex Bowman spinning. I guess Bowman had a spin and didn't get caught. A few more here from, we'll call this Richard Media for 2, hashtag Logano hair plugs. Daniel for 2, lame winner. Overall is garbage. Fox is awful. It's not a bad race. It was a good race. Like there were tons of side-by-side racing, passing for the lead, tons of lead changes. Like I don't want, again, I know I went on and on and on, but I still think that's rightfully so. But this was a really good race, and it should not be forgotten of how good this race was. I personally really liked this race. I liked the coming down to the end with strategy. I liked the side-by-side racing. I liked that there was no real cause of caution other than stages for the most part for the opening like 120 or so laps. It was a very clean race. And while it had some issues at the end, I don't want the ending to ruin how good of a race it really was. But let's look into that race. I will get into these. Recce Spinhouse, according to Ross Crash Stain, Recce Spinhouse is trending on Twitter right now. Hold on one second. I want to see if I can see where it's at. Daytona 500 was trending all day long, number 1 or 2 on Twitter nationally, and I think even internationally it was trending too. So that was fun to see. Again, there was tons of good that can be taken away from this. But at the same time, we need to look at the bad just as much as the good. And so we're going to look into a lot of the good here in a moment. Yeah, Daytona 500 is number 1. Larson is number 2. Going down the rankings, Harvick, Travis Pastrana is trending. Recce Spinhouse trending 16 nationwide. Jimmy Johnson and Austin Dillon, Tony Stewart. NASCAR is the trend at the moment today. It was the big event. I would fully expect fitting into the time window because it was still a relatively short Daytona 500 for the long laps that it had. I would not in any way, and Mr. Beast was at the race. I would not in any way hold back in saying that and be surprised in saying that this race probably will be more watched than last year's was. Probably in the 9 million range, I would assume. I could be wrong. If it's anywhere above 10, it is a smash hit for NASCAR. But let's look at some of the highlights I wrote down on this one. Again, there was a lot of side-by-side, 2x2. A lot of that early, a little difficult to pass. And early on, most of the issues were honestly small issues. You had Ty Dillon, he blew an engine, went to the garage. Tough deal, tough way to end on his part. But then you had the Fords pitting first. The pit strategy really took over how people viewed this race. The Fords pitted first. Logano, I will say, had a hell of a great job in outbraking the rest of his Ford companions onto pit road. Excellent driving by him, and shows why he's one of the top 3 best drivers at the moment in NASCAR. Then, after that, you had more come in. I think it was lap 40 when Riley Herbst spun, and he got it on top of spinning out. NASCAR didn't throw the caution, which I applaud because no cars were coming. Single car spin out of the racing lane. Attaboy in NASCAR not calling a caution there. Kept that pace and flow very, very high early on. But on top of that, he got a commitment cone violation. No, did rebound for a top 10 finish. After that, you had the Toyotas. They cycled in. And it really all came back and accordion back together by the end of the stage. This is where we saw, I think, what would be, in my opinion, the first turning point of the race. Bubba Wallace and Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin, 3 Toyotas, running up to the front. Bubba with a very strong car. Denny gets into Truex. Truex then accordions into Bubba, sends Bubba in the wall, and I believe bent the toe link a bit. And that, while he raced up front, Bubba could not lead a line to save his life because of the damage, both internal and external, on his car. And that pretty much solidified that he was not going to win the 500, just like the damage on his fender last year. But anyway, that same time, that's when AJ Allmendinger makes this weird bonsai move, blocking the inside of the pack so they can keep the lucky dog, which, had the race cycled out in his favor at the end and not had cautions, could have meant that he would have the Daytona 500 trophy right now. But that did not happen. And at the end of the stage, the Fords came out to play. At the end of that stage, the entire top 5, all Fords. Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece, Christopher Buescher, Kevin Harvick, Michael McDowell. McDowell supremacy that did not reign today. But then the back half of the top 10, you had Ty Gibbs, you had Jimmy Johnson, Eric Almirola, Martin Truex Jr., and Todd Gilliland back there too. So very good assortment of different drivers to finish that one out. Now, after that, stage 2, you had, half the field pitting around lap 107. It was very orderly for the most part of that second stage. Then the Fords, then the Toyotas, then a couple of the Chevys. This is where Kyle Busch goes a lap down. And at lap 119, we get our first big crash of the day. Right when we go to commercial, it figured. But we have a bunch of contenders taken out in this one. Ryan Blaney's taken out. Chase Elliott's taken out. That was my pick to win today. And while Blaney, again, recovered for a top 10, he was in no way a winning guy at the end of that race. Reddick taken out. Larson hit a little bit. Suarez a little bit. And the Guns N' Roses car, unfortunately, Eric Jones taken out as well. That sucked. I'm sorry, that sucked because yes, I know it's an older band and stuff, but it's still cool to see is on a NASCAR stock car. But at that point, you have the stage break come up after that. Chastain wins with Bowman behind him, Logano, Stenhouse, Cindric. Then you got MTJ, Byron, Allmendinger, Buescher, and Bell. Now remember, stage points will mean a lot when it comes down to playoff time. There's going to be a lot going on. I think this year when it comes to the playoff cut line, we saw last year what a couple stage points difference could have made. So it's never too early to talk about it. After that, we get to the final stage, 62 to go. We have the first caution of that final stage for a tire carcass. And that's when Fox missed the Bowman spin, live at least. After that, though, the Fords, they just kept getting stronger as night went on. At one point, the top line went single file, broke ahead of the pack, and we had, I think, 8 or 9 cars in a freight train, all Fords up front, and they basically ran this race until the final green flag pit stops of the day. With those, mostly Fords pitted. There were 9 to start with, and that put them in the catbird seat if they would have went green. They had the best guys, the best organization, just everything was top of the line for Ford with that. The RFK cars especially were incredibly tough to beat. Then with 24 to go, you have 4 more cars. Then you got another couple cars. It was very odd how little the groups coming in were. And then with 19 to go, when they're all coming back together, different cars going different speeds, you have the big one. You have the 41, the 34, the 1984 of Johnson, Briscoe, Gibbs, a lot of contenders taken out, a lot of fast cars, which I will get to that super chat in a moment. But thank you, Mom. I believe it just said 2 for 25. Yes, 2 days till I get to see my mom again. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But getting back to it here, with 13 to go in the scheduled distance, they go back to green. Byron gets shuffled out of the front with the lead, and AJ Allmendinger takes the lead. At this point, I'm going nuts. I'm like, oh my gosh, are we going to see AJ Allmendinger and colleague win the Daytona 500? We know how they celebrate. And I was thinking we were going to see a huge party. But with 10 to go, the RFK duo says, screw this, we're going for the win. And they pull out with a tandem, and all of a sudden it turns into Roush versus Childress. It's like a throwback to the late 90s, early 90s, throwback to the 90s in a lot of ways. 6 versus 3 with the 17 and the 8 right there. Even though the 8 of Kyle Busch was technically a 3 car, so I would have had a lot of fun with that one. Tim Tom Toe in the chat. Do you agree that Joey won? No, I mean, I think did they show a replay? It looked like the moment of caution, 47 had the run going. But at that point, we'll get to that in a moment. But at that point, then the 8 makes a move. The 8 and the 3 go out in front of the pack, and you have Suarez spinning, costing Kyle Busch a real good shot at his first Daytona 500 in 18 tries. It might be another driver. I mean, there's only the next 2 years, so it might be another driver at Richard Childress Racing taking 20 or more years to win a Daytona 500 if Kyle Busch wins. But yeah, so we got that. The first green-white checker happens, and the whole damn field wrecks at that point. Which, to me, I was like, man, like they'd had for so long so much of the pack stay intact, and it sucked that it kind of devolved into a wreck fest. Then you had the second overtime, which was the finish of this race, and you end up having I think Kyle Larson was the first one spun across, and he hit the wall hard, which we're gonna check really quick. I'm just gonna check Bob Pockrass and his Twitter to be sure, but a really hard hit by Kyle Larson into the outside wall. I'm hoping that he's okay. I want to make sure there's an update. Byron's out all right. Jimmy Johnson was out. I don't see too much. But well, again, we're going to find all the updates as we go. As long as Twitter allows. I will say, I'm just seeing on Twitter right now from RFK, the damage on Keselowski's car is insane. Like, that Mustang does not look like a Mustang anymore. And I agree. I see in the chat, Mark saying, when is the end of the 500 not a wreck fest? Agreed. I know. It sucks seeing that. This is the most watched auto race in America, and I hate watching it devolve into a wreck fest. But let's look at some of these super chats. I know I've missed a lot of them here. We'll start with Cody for the Canadian 2. Suarez spin did not need to be a caution. Kyle Busch would have won. I mean, the pack was spread out. There were cars coming, and I believe he got stuck in the grass at the time. So I understand why. It sucks. I get it that, we would want to see Kyle Busch at least have a chance at holding off the pack for that win. But it does suck, but I think it warranted a caution personally. Let's see. Richard Media, I'm just going to call you that. For 2 says, I agree with Daniel about the Fox stuff. Again, I'm not going to go too negative at this point. We started off pretty negative. I don't want to harp on that all night long. Napa Racing Fan 927 for the 2023 Daytona 500 champion, Recky Spin Twice Jr. That's a different one. Jim McDonald for 10. Hashtag 2 bears, 1 cave is. I didn't know what that was. Call me a boomer, call me what you will. I'm not intact when it comes to knowing pop culture stuff. So make fun of me as much as you want. Oh baby for 5. Your longest Daytona 500 video didn't age well. Lucky for me, I can change the title and I can make a new video. So there is that. 670 horsepower package. When for 2, Larson with a sad face. Excited for Auto Club, though. Go Ricky Stenhouse. Or GG Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Larson looked fast. I had Larson as my underdog pick in this one, and he damn near proved me right. I like that one, Groovy Goose Ice Boomer. You know what? If you guys want to like make that a nickname in there, we can I'm fine with that. Have fun with it, man. Have fun with it. I see Not Sure also talking. There's a lot to talk about Joey's hair transplant. Joey's hair does look kind of odd. Over the offseason, I ended up losing it, but I had edited a picture of him saying he should go full on, shave it all off, and then for Halloween have Avatar: The Last Airbender arrow tattoos on him. Boyd for 5. I bet $100 on Ricky, and now I'm $4,000 richer. First time I've ever bet on anything. Well, good job. Good job. That's amazing. I don't know if I bet on Stenhouse or not. I probably should have. I know I thought about it. I can double check. I always go for the big long shots just because yes, I might lose $5 or $10, but if I win, I'll win a couple grand back. So let's double check and see if I won anything. And like I thought, I did not. I did not win anything. The closest I got was I put money on Logano. I would have won $100 if Logano won, but it was. I mean, I put not $100. I think it was like 50. It was a good amount. I would have won, but good job on that one, Void. Antar Das, thank you for the 5. I know you missed pre-race, but when they interviewed Kyle Busch and he told them that Gibbs was willing to put his personal money to keep Kyle, well, that will shift a few narratives. I don't know, maybe if they've made up behind the scenes or making sure they're good, but that will probably shift a few narratives. I'm interested to see what people, especially on this platform, will say with that news. I'm gonna look up, make sure Kyle Larson is okay. I mean, I would think he would be, but you never ever want to be sure. Oh, I mean, he said he was good. Okay, so I just watched. I don't know if you could hear it, but I had. There was 5 seconds of audio on Twitter. He did say he was good. And the PA did say that Larson went to the infield care center. So, and he just got interviewed. He just got interviewed by journalists at the track. So Kyle Larson is, at least at the moment, seeming okay. And that is good news. That is good news. Now we're just gonna see it and keep waiting for different news to trickle in and out. GN NASCAR fan 24. I know that I'm skipping ahead here. I will get to the rest of them really quick. But for 2, he brings up a good point. We need wide open coverage like TNT did from 07 to 2012. I agree. I do agree. I think that even if NASCAR has to put up some money to do so, that would be the right call. Personally, I think so. So awesome. Eric W for 2. My pick, Christopher Bell 3rd. See you Tuesday. Yeah, that's right. Tuesday we have the NR Cup Series on IDK Players channel. Atlanta, gonna be really fun. Only 200 laps. Really short dash. Should be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you all there on that one. I'll be co-commentating. So should be fun. The Oodles 69 for what's it? Is it a like Australian? I don't. It's for 5. I'm sorry. I don't know. I apologize. I was in the American education system, so I don't know much more outside of my country. I apologize. But he says, glad RFK were competitive. Hope it continues. I'm glad too, and I hope it continues too, because I think a fast Roush team, no matter the backing, is good for NASCAR. Napa Racing Fan 927 for 2. Change Super Speedway package. Short track for Fontana. I like short track for Fontana. I think the Super Speedway package can be adjusted a little bit. I think I might have missed some of the super chats because I'm seeing, yeah, there's a lot of them that screwed up. It reset. I'm gonna go back and make sure. Frankie Martinez for 2. Where the hell were the Toyotas? Junk cars today. They raced up front, but I think they did not work well. Awesome. I was right. It was okay. Cool. Awesome. I'm starting to learn a little more. Daniel Shell for 2. Did you enjoy the commercial 500? I'm not gonna beat that too much more on the head unless there's anything new brought to the table about that. We'll talk about it Wednesday on the podcast, which I am pretty sure I have up there in a bit. If it's not already up there, I can't see what the ticker's doing at the moment. Chewy for 2. Didn't think the commercials were bad. I'm glad, and I'm completely glad if people enjoyed it. And again, GG Ricky. If people enjoyed it, I'm happy. I'm not gonna try it. I don't want to rain on your parade. I'm just saying what I personally thought and where I would put it. But if you enjoyed it, don't let me rain on your parade. I say this every post-race stream because I will be critical of different things. But I don't want to ruin it for people who really did enjoy the night. Need for Speed 53 for 5. Jimmy wrecked. I'm gonna go cry now. I saw when Jimmy wrecked, I'm like, it's fitting. but I'm still upset. But is what it is. He's got like I think 8 or 9 more attempts this year. Plus, he might do the All-Star race depending on what stuff works out. He'll announce more as we go. IKS Ruby T for 10. I probably screwed that one up too. Thoughts on the caution for Suarez's spin? 99 spun right in front of pit road. Bad luck for KFB again. Again, I think it was a warranted caution with how spread out the pack was. The fact that he was stuck there. I'm not going to rip on him rip on NASCAR for that. I think it was a fair caution. Greg, thank you for the 5. Local Fox affiliate is in disagreement with Dish and DirecTV, so I had to watch at the neighbors. Anyone else have those issues? I heard others did, but I mean, I didn't have issues because I also heard that some people say YouTube TV did, but I watched the whole race on YouTube TV. The only interruptions were the commercials. Isaac, thank you for the 5. Was going to start calling him Bad Luck Blaney, but he ended up with the top 10, so I don't know what to think. And then, of course, my mom saying 2, as in she'll be down here to visit me in 2 days. Thank you, Mom. And then, let's see, I got voids there. I'm trying to make sure. YouTube keeps resetting these, so if I miss people's, tell me in the chat, and I will keep trying to pay attention to make sure that I can. And I'll make sure I can read them. Again, I think the Super Speedway package just needs a couple tweaks. It just seems like it's very uneven, whether the runs are really fast or if they're slow or whatnot. It's again, just very uneven overall. Jason for 5 says the 500's commercials used to rival the Super Bowl. Now they're dull, repetitive reruns. Gonna have so many, at least make them new and entertaining. Well, it's I think it's lack of funding. Less sponsors want to jump on the Daytona 500 than they used to, which is it is partly a being out of the mainstream issue. It's partly a NASCAR issue. It's partly audience issue. I mean, a lot of these commercials. One of the giveaways was literally for people's upcoming retirement and 401k and stuff. I mean, that should tell you where the target audience of the ads are at. So I think it's just, if NASCAR can get an influx of younger viewers soon, I think you'll start seeing more money follow with it. You see the same thing with Formula 1, NFL, NBA, like sporting leagues that have a younger viewer base tend to get more money. You see similar issues with the MLB, for instance. Isaac for 2 says Suarez is a secret agent against Kyle Busch. Maybe. Groovy Goose for 2. Yoda impression, beef for dinner it is. I will not do a Yoda impression, but just because my voice is already pretty shot. Is what it is. So, James, thank you for the Canadian 5, and thanks for jumping in here, man. Oh, it just reset on me. There we go. Another 500 where Almirola looked like the car to win. Then outside forces make him a disappointment again. I know. They're like, Almirola was very, very strong today along with the other Fords. And I was thinking, man, he was going to be so close, but he was so close, but I was thinking maybe this would actually be the year. But I think based on what we heard before, he has a couple more attempts at least before his contract or retirement is up, whichever it comes first. So, there's more chances, but the chances are running out. It's kind of like Kyle Busch in a lot of ways. Austin, thank you for the 5. Being from Mississippi, this is cool to see Ricky win. Believe it or not, NASCAR isn't big here in Mississippi, so this is cool for me. I know I have heard from friends of mine who I've met or people I've met from Mississippi that it is smaller than you expect, especially being as close to Alabama as it is in Talladega. But for those, I've always wondered, for those who are fans of drivers from like a state or area near you, how it feels. Because the closest I got was Chad Canals winning the 500 in 2013. Because if you remember, in 2006, he was suspended for the Daytona 500, and Darian Grubb ended up being the crew chief to win the Daytona 500 with Jimmy Johnson. So I'm very interested in that. And I was also, I think, 8 at the time, so I didn't appreciate crew chiefs and the surrounding team as much as I would now. But that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Dislocation, thank you for the 10. My NASCAR pool is bleep, but the race was pretty good in my opinion. But honestly, these stage cautions have got to go. The flow of the race got slowed down at the end of stage 2. Larson wrecked, made me sad. I do agree. I think super speedways are one of the places that you don't need those stage cautions, because more than likely the pack will calm down at the end of the stage. They'll still be able to race pretty well, and you keep it going. Just keep going with the flow of the race. I love watching the flow of a race have a natural progression that doesn't get stopped by stages. And that's why I'm very excited to see how the stages will make Sonoma, Watkins Glen, maybe the Indy road course, a lot of these road courses better. I'm very interested to see. And I think I know a lot of people don't watch road courses as much as the other racetracks, but road courses definitely need to be watched. And I would say, too, I would love to see that implemented at Pocono and Michigan. Strategy-heavy tracks. If Indy comes back with the oval, I want to see that implemented, because I think it would be a really, really fun experience to watch. And it'd be a different way of like the race flowing and a different feel to the race than it was pre-stages, because you still have people racing for stage points. So that, again, going to be really interesting to see how it changes. Let's see. Napa Racing Fan 927 for 2. What changes would you make to Fox other than ads? I would say if they can have cameras that cover more of the field, that would be good. And utilize those really cool cameras they do have. Like, Fox had a lot of good views today. For instance, they had one on the ground inside of the wall that showed the cars go by. They had they used to have the one at the finish line that would face the finish line a little bit, and you'd see the cars fly by. They had the drone cam, which I think, if operated correctly, really, really cool for a viewer to watch. Just make, and this goes for all broadcasters, whether it's NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, iRacing, make it look fast. Make it look fast and sound loud, and you have those who are racing fans hooked. Because I think that the commentary of this race was really good. I personally think that the booth of Clint, Tony, and Mike Joy is really, really good. I know a lot of people aren't happy about Danica. She definitely is not as good as I thought she was at commentating. But I'm hoping that she does improve and proves us wrong this year. I see that people are leaving me different things in the DMs, so let me double check at the moment. All right, we have, let's see. This is from Seth Sharp, and Antardas sent it to me. I want to make sure. Yes, Antardas sent it to me. From Seth Sharp on Twitter. Every winner of the 500 in a year that ends with 3 has either won 7 Cup titles or once drove for the Wood Brothers. And then he lists off 1963, Tiny Lund, 73, Richard Petty, 83, Cale Yarborough, 93, Dale Jarrett, Michael Waltrip, 2003, Jimmy Johnson, 2013, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 2023. If you remember, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. drove part-time for the Wood Brothers, I believe in 2011 when Trevor Bayne was out. And it might have been a couple other times here or there, but that's when I personally remember most. But very good catch both by Seth on Twitter, which he's a very good follow as well. Reminds me, I probably should follow him. Exposing myself on air. Let's see what else we got, though. A lot of super chats coming in. Another one. Is it Sachin Born Rhinelander for 10? Nobody else in my friend group, 23 to 28, will watch NASCAR. I have tried. They only watch F1, and even that casually. Nothing but left turn complaints, but they won't try a road course. At that point, some people just won't watch. That's something I think that NASCAR and NASCAR fans have to accept. At some point, people just aren't going to watch the same stuff as us. It sucks, but it is what it is. I see the scripted jokes in the chat. Yeah, that's part of the script. Write it down. 2023, we're going to have a 7-time champion win the 500. But at that point, we probably won't have a 7-time champion racing in it. So a driver that used to drive or still drives for the Wood Brothers will win it in 10 years. Mark it down. Uh, Jason, thank you for the 5. Despite his finish, proud of the speed Busch showed and what the season has. I think it's going to be a pretty good season personally for Busch. It didn't start out well, but I think it's going to be a really good year. And I think he's going to be a threat at the super speedways more than he's been since, honestly, 2008. Ready, thank you for the 5. All 3 races this weekend didn't quite have a clean run to the finish. No issue, little issue, or big issue. I don't know how to really rank that, because honestly last year didn't have too clean a run either. If you think of Cindric and Blaney's issue causing a big wreck at the finish, I think it's kind of an issue. I think it needs to be fixed a bit. I think a lot of it's driver etiquette. You got a lot more younger drivers out there who are not used to super speedway racing or not patient enough, and ultimately the pack pays the price. So I'll say little issue at the moment, but it could become a very big issue if this becomes the norm like it's seeming to become. Jets_Mets for 5. Fox has a terrible broadcast. How do you not show the last pass for the lead 10 minutes after it happened? Yeah. Has anyone seen the replay of Stenhouse getting past the 22? Because I didn't see it, but I was also getting in here getting this set up too. Antardas, I saw for 2 that you sent me that fact, which very cool fact, by the way. NASCAR comparisons for 10. Thank you so much. So the statistic about the current former Wood Brothers driver or 7-time champion winning the 500 every year with a 3 turned out to be true. Yeah. By the way, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're going to be live after every race this year for the most part. For sure Cup, unless we're at the track for media. And then probably a lot of them having to do with Xfinity and trucks as well. We're going to have a lot of fun this year. This channel is going to be doing a lot of different things. So jump on and be here for the ride. By the way, the poll I put up for this race, I think I've had it up for about 50 minutes now. Be sure to vote on that one on the community tab. Let's see if we can get, I don't know about a record, but at least let's get some more votes in on that one. Chris, thank you for the $5 super chat. With this 500 and issues with the short track and road course package, the new car seems to be designed for cookie cutters. The cookie cutters are leaving behind. That is the issue they're running into. And NASCAR, when they designed it, did want it to race better at road courses. It's just the road courses, it seems like, have not been compatible the first year with the car. But I'll also say this. A lot of people like the 20. And Alex, I said I would do that at some point. I don't know when. But people really like 2014 as a season overall. But the 2013 season had similar issues with different tracks. The Super Speedway package was off the first year that they had it. Short track racing, honestly, wasn't that good that year outside of a Richmond finish. I thought it was kind of mediocre. Road courses, there weren't enough road courses to really judge. But, I mean, Sonoma was kind of a snoozer. The Glen was pretty good. So, and the intermediates were hit or miss too. So I don't want to judge it too quick, but it is seeming like a concern at the moment. Definitely. The Oodles for 69 for an Australian 5. Now that I've been confirmed that is true. I'm catching on. I thought Boyer was better this race than last season. Just a slight improvement from him. I'd agree. I think Boyer has gotten better, and it's a welcome improvement in my opinion. The Aesthetic Skyline. Thank you for the 2. No comment though. I want to double check, make sure that we have any news. And we'll go from there. And thank you, MVR owner in the chat. Can I pin somebody else's chat? I've never tried that before. Yeah, let's pin his message. We'll pin him up top. MVR owner, what was your opinion of the Daytona 500? Here we go. It is he put the poll up in here. So thank you very much for that, by the way. And I'll open up on my end and see what we're looking at. A lot of people have voted on it, and I very much appreciate that. Thank you also, Voltiger, I think, 18 for 2. As a Kyle Busch fan, I'm doubting if he'll ever win it. I have to admit, I am too, and I'm not a Kyle Busch fan per se. I don't dislike him the way I did when I was watching as a junior fan in the junior days. Um, but it is starting to. I think those same questions. I remember with Tony Stewart towards the last couple of years of his career, people being like, "Is it ever going to win it?" And it ended up being no. But of course, my grandpa, who was a big Dale Earnhardt fan, and it was there in '98, he also had said that it was the same way for an Earnhardt fan. So there's two ways that it can go with it. Let's see. Wow, here's a stat from Avery on Twitter at Avery Hage, I think is how you say your last name. I apologize if I said your last name wrong, buddy. But he says Cody Ware had the most fastest laps in the race today. 9 of the laps run today, Cody Ware was the fastest car out there. The power of the draft. The power of the draft for sure. Let's see. I'm looking for some more updates. More Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is one. Travis Pastrana out of the care center. He's happy that he led a lap. And I think we're going to have to edit a bit when it comes to the finishing order of this race. Because from what I'm looking at, the finishing order has started to shuffle up a bit now that they have officially started going through, siphoning through. So we're going to take... So you might see up top, I might leave it as we edit. Honestly, no, I'm gonna take it off for the moment, and we're gonna edit up the post-race results and get you the true finishing order of this race. I think the top 10 stays the same, but Travis Pastrana has now officially been moved up to an 11th place finish on the night. So Travis Pastrana moves up. I believe that means that Harvick, Zane Smith, and Cody Ware will be shuffled down. Yes, it does. So I'm going to put that here at the moment. I think it's just a matter of like semantics for the most part. Just a couple, here or there, and that's it. So if I miss any super chats, I will read them once I get that all edited up. Let's change that. I want to make sure everybody has the correct finishing order, but I think this will be the official finishing order unless post-race inspection says differently. As long as it doesn't take us like 10 hours to find out tonight, we'll try and stay live until post-race inspection is finished. But looking at the results, that might be the only change that we have on the night, because I'm looking through at the moment, and it's looking like, yeah, this is I think that's the only changes of the night. So the final finishing order, official finishing order, I should say, will be up top. Not unofficial results. These are, at the moment, unless NASCAR changes anything, are the official Daytona 500 results, edited up, ready to go for you guys. I will get that Forney logo off. I don't know what I was doing on that one. I think I accidentally hit it. Sorry about that. But yeah, there you go. That is here's your official Daytona 500 finishing results. Starting off, also 2 more super chats. Ice Car for 2, nice name. Daytona 500 winner and gone, or JTG competitive? I wouldn't say JTG is going to be too competitive. Last year they had the issue of big time of ENF issues. So so Spencer, they're unofficial until inspection technically, but they're the official results at the moment. It's weird how NASCAR says it. But going back to the JTG one, JTG has issues when it comes to keeping on track with Stenhouse. Last year, I believe he had 9 or 10 DNFs. So I'm not gonna say he's competitive unless we see the next 5 or 6 weeks him running inside the top 10 on a regular basis. As for another super chat here, NASCAR Fanatic 24-25 for 2. I really liked how many lead changes there. Yes, there were a lot of lead changes. Let me see if I can pull that up again if they have the statistics. I might be able to read some of the statistics about the race today if NASCAR's website will work with me here. Where is it at? Daytona. Okay, Daytona 500 results. Let's look at it. Here we go. So Here are the statistics for the. Oh, well, never mind. NASCAR's website is janky as hell and isn't keeping up. I'm trying to find it, but NASCAR's website is just pop-ups left and right, even though I have pop-ups off. I had it. I think it said there were 52 lead changes until NASCAR's website, of course, didn't, half the screen just turned off on me. So I'll try and refresh it and see if it works. 53 lead changes among 21 leaders, 8 cautions, and NASCAR's website janks out on me again. So I would read more stuff about it, but NASCAR's website won't work. Sorry. I wanted to read more, but it's not working for me. But yeah, a lot of lead changes in this one. More, I think Mike Joyce said, than like the last 4 Daytona 500s. I don't know if combined. I don't know if that statistic is right. But Spencer in the chat brings up there were 35 lead changes last year. So, people may not like it, and a lot of it, yes, probably had to do with green flag pit stops shuffling the lead up. But 58 commercial breaks. But no, I'd say it's still a competitive package. It's still a very competitive package, and I think that a few things here and there could help fix it up a little bit. I don't think the next gens are honestly as bad as a lot of people are saying. I think the safety issues are the biggest thing they need to change, because I think the racing part is honestly fine. I think it can be improved, and they should, but it's not. I don't think it's also the end of the world either. Matt Weaver for the win here. He posted up the official results page that NASCAR sent to the media. It was 212 laps for 530 miles, longest Daytona 500 ever. I will read that in a moment. Aesthetic Skyline, I promise. The time of the race was 3 hours, 38 minutes, 53 seconds, with an average speed of 145.283 miles per hour. Margin of victory, well, it was under caution. Most laps led in this one was, let's see, going through. Brad Keselowski with 42 laps led in this race. I believe he led the most laps last year as well. I'm going to take this off the top now. Unpin the message. Thank you, MVR owner, though, for helping out. Click that like button if you haven't already. Let's see if we can get 500 likes for the Daytona 500. Maybe 530 for 530, but that's probably pushing it. Let's see what else they got here. I'm trying to look up any updates that we have for the end of this race. Aesthetic Skyline for the 2 says MTJ still hasn't DNF'd in a super speedway race in 3 years. That's impressive. So, what was last DNF be? Would it be 20? It's 3 years. Would it be 2020 was his last DNF in a super speedway, or would it be what year would that be? I'm very interested. Let's see. Malik in the chat says, do you think Kyle Busch will ever win the Daytona 500? If so, what year? I don't know. I won't say what year, but I'll ask a poll in the chat. Let's start a poll. Will KFB win a Daytona 500? And the options: yes, no, or pudding. I don't know. We'll ask it. So poll. But there you go. Eric, thank you for the $5 super chat. At this point, I want to get rid of overtime at plate tracks. I desperately wanted a clean run to the finish. I agree. I'm honestly completely fine with that. I know pudding's probably going to be oh wow, pudding's not one of the top options. But we're seeing the voting right now. So be sure to vote in that poll. I like seeing what you guys think about these races. Honestly. I mean, we have at the moment, after 132 votes, 50% saying yes, 30 saying no, and 20 saying pudding. I'm glad you guys like the little fun bit. I was flipping through the channels the other day, and Walking Dead came on, and it was Carl eating pudding, so I had pudding on the mind. Let's see what else we got here. Looking through the chat, KFB is Kyle Busch, by the way, Matthew. For those that are more new, chocolate or tapioca. Let's say chocolate pudding. Chocolate pudding. By the way, again, be sure to vote on the poll in my community tab. And your comments, by the way, will be read on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Black Flags Matters channel. It'll be a lot of fun to be on there. The other 3 podcast hosts were all at the 500 today. I can't wait to hear what their perspective on the event was. By the way, we just gotten to an hour of the poll being up and over 3,000 votes already, so keep voting. I can't wait to see. There's 211 comments already. So it's gonna be really fun. Be sure to click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're gonna keep going and find out. Let's see if we have any more news coming from the track, and if there's any news on post-race inspection for today. A lot of the articles starting to come up now. A lot of stuff coming up in general. I'm again really interested both on the fan perspective, as well as maybe even honestly the media perspective. I guess Pastrana was really happy that he had led a lap. Travis Pastrana did get to lead a lap in the Daytona 500. And I think for him, that's like the equivalent as like Jimmy Johnson leading a lap in the Indy 500 last year, and he was happy to do so. Benny asking who won. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was the winner. Let's roll through the finishing order as it rolls up top one more time. That way for anyone who's just listening at the moment, I don't want you being left in the dark if you can't watch, because I know some of you might be driving or whatnot and you don't want to look down and read the whole time. So Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wins the 65th annual Daytona 500. Joey Logano finishes second. Third, Christopher Bell. Christopher Buescher fourth. Alex Bowman fifth. AJ Allmendinger sixth. Seventh, Daniel Suarez. 8th, Ryan Blaney. Ross Chastain 9th. Riley Herbst gets a top 10. Travis Pastrana 11th. Kevin Harvick 12th. Then you got Zane Smith 13th. Cody Ware 14th. 15th, Martin Truex Jr. 16th is Corey LaJoie. Denny Hamlin 17th. 18th, it's Kyle Larson. Kyle Busch 19th. 20th, Bubba Wallace. 21st, Eric Almirola. Then 22nd, Brad Keselowski. After Keselowski, there is Austin Cindric, 23rd. 24th, Noah Gragson. 25th, Ty Gibbs. 26th, Harrison Burton. 27th, Todd Gilliland. 28th, Michael McDowell. Connor Daly finishes 29th. And 30th is BJ McLeod. 31st is Jimmy Johnson. 32nd, Justin Haley. 33rd, Austin Dillon. 34th, William Byron. Then 35th, Chase Briscoe. 36th, Ryan Preece. 37th, Eric Jones. 38th, Chase Elliott. Tyler Reddick, 39th. And 40th in last place, Ty Dillon. So that is your rundown for the race tonight. Looking at some of the other, let's see. Looking at some of the other chats in here. Napa Racing fan wanting to know if I consider this a Mickey win. Nah, it's a Daytona 500. This is how it always goes. Unless you want to consider the Daytona 500 a Mickey Mouse race. By the way, we put the poll up 327 votes later after 4 minutes. Will Kyle Busch win a Daytona 500? 50% of you say yes. 28% of you say no. 21 or 22, depending on how they tabulate it, of you say pudding. 20, yeah, so apparently we only have 99% of votes. So 1% is lost in the somewhere. See what else you guys have to say in the chat. Oscar saying, could Jimmy Johnson have won had his car not crashed? I think he could have. I think he had actually a really fast car that got better as the night went on from what it looked like. Now, maybe from what he viewed, it didn't. But in my opinion, from what it looked like, that car was awfully fast. And it was just a matter of being caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. By the way, I want to thank everybody who stuck around. I know a lot of people had to dip out after about 45 minutes or so. But this is probably the most watch stream live that we have. This is the most watch stream live that we've ever had. We peaked at 1357 earlier, and still over 800 of you here. I appreciate it so much. And I appreciate all the support we've had through Speed Weeks. So I want to take a moment and thank all of you for the support, for all the new members, the memberships bought, everything like that on this channel, all the super chats, everything. It means a ton to see so much support. And I can't wait to see what this season holds, and I can't wait to see what you guys think as we go. Let's look at some of the other comments here. Tim Tom Toe had tagged me, said, "Do you agree Joey was going to win?" I don't know. He had the drafting help up top, and the top line seemed on the restarts to have a good push, but I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to say Stenhouse for now. There wasn't really much of a replay I saw of that last lap other than the crash. Malik also tagged me in here saying, "Do you think the Daytona 500 should be in March and the Brickyard 400 first race and last race of the season?" No. I think as long as the Daytona 500 doesn't overlap with Super Bowl coverage and hurt it in the ratings, it should stay in February. And the Brickyard 400, if it comes back, I don't know if putting it on a single date will be more than just a gimmick for here. I mean, maybe one idea you could have is try and integrate it into the month of May, but then at that point, then you're imposing on another series biggest time of the year, and I don't like that idea. We tried it to start out right before the playoffs or chase or whatever you want to call it, whatever it was called when they were there, and it didn't work out. I think at this point you just need to build up the event. You're never going to fill 250,000 seats with modern NASCAR anymore. From what I saw, estimates were saying there were between 160 and 180,000 today, because you had about 100. I think it was like well over 110,000 in the stands, standing room only as well, plus another 40 to 60,000 in the infield. So I mean, this was probably the most attended NASCAR race, probably since a Daytona 500 in the mid 2010s. But even then, you had the Daytona Rising that screwed up attendance. So it might have been the most attended Daytona 500 in a long time. It was the most attended truck race I saw since 2011. So there was over 50,000 at the truck race. So very good showing by Daytona fans and NASCAR fans this weekend. Honestly, there was a lot more hype as it went. And I agree, Irvin Alvarado. I know David would blow up if more than a volcano if NASCAR was in the month of May. And I'm not saying it should be. I'm just saying, I mean, that's if you want to gimmick it up, that might be the only way you can get people to go more. Because the doubleheader has helped. The attendance has been up, even if it's not great. But it has not, it has not done, I think, what NASCAR has necessarily wanted over time. Let's see what we have here in the chat. The anonymous Accelerdo says Daytona had to build temporary stands. I did see those off of turn 4, and maybe like back in the day, they could have temporary stands on the backstretch too. I think Daytona Rising, they have the ability to build it out to 125,000 in attendance in the grandstands alone. So they might have to do that if this becomes something sustainable over time. Let's double check, make sure there's no updates from the track, and we'll go from there. Brad Keselowski, he had put out a tweet, said, led the most laps with a rocket car, in position to win, race with a great teammate, bad luck strikes. Not sure what more we can do. And I'd agree. Brad Keselowski ran a almost flawless race, and just super speedway racing gets in the way. Let's see what else we have here. Now, yes, this is officially the longest Daytona 500. I see Bluey intros in the chat. Rolex 24 week compared to the 500. I think you mean attendance. Yeah, but it should be. This is the most watched auto race in America. It should. I don't want to downgrade how good the Rolex attendance was, because that was, I think, the highest people that I know have said it was since I don't know, like a decade or two ago. I mean, it's the most I'd have ever seen when I watched it. So overall, Daytona won early in the season. January, February was a very good month if you were running Daytona International Speedway. Let's see. Let's double check. I want to see if post-race inspection is done yet. They have to be well in through it. There's also no footage you can have a post-race inspection. So we won't know until it is announced. Scorpius tagged, I see you tagged me on here. Did the ending, let's see. Did the ending feel kind of empty to you? This is the first year in a while I didn't really feel anything about it. I mean, it wasn't as, honestly, I thought 2018 for me was the most empty feeling, just because I thought Mike Joy's commentary wasn't great in that. But it definitely had that, like, leaving me wanting more and not in a good way feeling, just because of the caution. But I knew as soon as Larson hit the wall like that, you have to throw the caution. With the way these next-gen cars are with safety, with the way that NASCAR officiating's been, they cannot leave that green. So it was the right call. It just sucked. Jake asking, did I see any of Grassi's coverage? I saw the start. I really wasn't crazy about it, so I turned it off. I don't know. I don't know a lot of I know it's his style. I've watched Grassi's stuff for a while. I'm not a fan of using the stereotype all the time, especially, when you're opening it up to a new audience. I didn't think he handled that part well. And I heard it got better, but I was not, like I said, I wasn't a fan of it. If people had fun, if he had fun with it, more power to him. I hope he watches more races. He doesn't have to stream them, but if he watches more races, if some of his viewers watch more races that wouldn't already, I'm cool with that. Andrew saying that you thought I had more hair. I did cut most of the hair off. I was getting sick of long hair and long beards. But yeah, I used to. Let's see what else we got in here. Allie Miller says Brad K led the most laps 2 years in a row and was super close in 21. What more can he do? I don't know, man. I do not know what more he can do. Let's see. And again, I see a lot of you guys like the stream. I'm glad, and I'm not saying not to like it. I'm just saying if it's not my cup of tea, but I hope you guys like it. Nat Bryson fan asks, what will the TV ratings be for this race? Well, if it is continues on as a 6% increase from last year, that would make it about 9.4 million. So about an extra, give or take, 600,000 people watching this year, plus more at the track, which is good. If it is, I'd say the most gain you would probably see would be 10%, which would be 9.754. If it's, say, 2 or 3% off, like each of the last couple years have been, the lowest you'd see is maybe 8.6 million watching. So that would be, I would say between 8.6 and 9.6 million, probably. If it's any lower than 8.6, it's a massive failure. If it's above 9.6 and anywhere near 10, in my opinion, that is a rousing success for the Daytona 500 this year. Meredith asks, any news on the TV deal negotiation? None that I've heard, other than at the moment it looks like it's going to be re-upping from Fox and NBC. But yeah. Two Penny Puppet, are you still running marathons? Which one's next? I'm doing a marathon in Montana and Whitefish May 21st, I believe, Saturday morning. And then I'm getting on a flight which connects to Seattle, which connects to Chicago, which then flies me down to Charlotte, where at the moment I'm going to get picked up by friends and go to the North Wilkesboro race that next day. So busy bee. Probably have a vlog, honestly, for that one. I've never vlogged before, but I figure if it's something that unique, I might as well document it. Let's see what else we got here. I'll give you guys some updates. By the way, this will be the only post-race stream that we do through post-race inspection, just because this is the biggest race of the year. And, well, if everyone's going to be in here, we might as well get the right results with it. So let's see what else we have here. Looks like a lot of people came into victory lane between Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, a lot of other drivers. So it seems like a very popular win for Stenhouse, who, I mean, Stenhouse is one of the best super speedway racers in the business. So he deserves, this is a deserving win. ESPN tweeted about it too. I'm not going to go into comments because I have standards of for the most part. Let's see what else we. Reading through. Still no updates on post race inspection, but it is. I mean, we can say some other things. It is his third win of his career, and I think they all been on super speedways. So first win since 2017, though. Hey, what's up, Cody? I see Cody's in the chat. Hope you've been doing well, bud. Good to see your channel doing so well. Heck of a 500. If it stayed green, who do you think was going to win on that final run to the checkered? Well, first, how you doing, Cody? It's good to see you. And everyone in the chat, be sure to subscribe to Cody's channel. Awesome dude, makes great content. And you guys will not be disappointed whatsoever. As for who I think would win if it went green, I'd say Bello Logano. I feel like that lead car was a sitting duck if there was too much drafting help or room. And I think with the help they had, I think one of those two cars probably would have got it. But there was such a cutoff because Larson basically spun in front of the pack. And that I think that would have taken a lot of the momentum out of the draft. But I'm gonna say I'll take a wild card and say Bell if I had to choose. Napa Racing fan, will you make / release NHRA videos this year? I'm working on one. 4 hours 12 minutes and 4 hours 12 minutes and 19 minutes felt like 2 hours seconds. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing the official time being for it now. So NASCAR's time they published must be off because I saw earlier it was like 3:35 or something. Definitely a long one. Maybe that was just the official length. But I do think super speed. I would say if I'm going to criticize anything on the racing side or NASCAR side, they might. I know that they want to ramp up the drama and keep it going and make it into an NBA last minute that lasts for 20 minutes. But it gets redundant when you have basically 35 of the cars any given race make it to the last 10%. You have 20 to 25 cars clean to the end, and then you wreck most of them in overtime. I know the owners can't be liking it, especially since they're basically told, it's saying 3 hours, 39 minutes on NASCAR's app, but it's saying 4 hours in a lot of other places, so it's weird. But I'm sure the owners can't like having their cars wrecked like this, and then NASCAR going, oh, you need to cut some costs, man. You know, like I don't like that part of it either. So it's tough because you have to balance the entertainment with what the industry needs. But if the industry is in that dire need of saving money, why would you over and over again open it up to crashing more cars? That's the question I think that needs to be asked here. Are they really in that much of an issue, or is it just, oh well, you know, it's nice having these, but you don't, you know? Cody says I'm biased, but I was hoping for Larson. Got excited for about half a second when he sent it 3 wide in the final lap until everyone abandoned him and he dropped like a rock and crashed. Yeah, I had to admit I was hoping for Larson too, just because for such a talented driver who has won in so many different kinds of cars and different types of racing, it would have been amazing to see him get the biggest win that you can possibly get in NASCAR. But unfortunately, he got super speedwayed. Wow. Let me I'm gonna save this. This is from Toby Christie on, let's see, this is from Toby Christie on Twitter. I'm gonna email this to myself so I can put it in the OBS and show you guys. But this is the car that finished 8th tonight. This is, wow. So this will be Ryan Blaney's car. This car finished 8th tonight, and you would not have guessed if you had looked at it just on its own. So I'm waiting for it to pop up on my end, and then I will put it right in. You might see a little awkward me having to zoom in on it. It's not going to fit the screen either, but I'm okay with that. But I want to show you guys just how much damage these guys had really taken. And the chat stopped working on my end. Oh man. Part of being live. Just part of the deal. All right, so we got that. And let's pop this image up on screen. This is Blaney's car. Again, this is from Toby Christie on Twitter. Another great person to follow if you want to get updates on NASCAR news. Might be a little big for the screen there. Yeah, this is the car that finished 8th tonight. I'm going to pop this baby up on here, then put the post-race results a little higher up so you guys can see them. On-air production meetings are always fun. Oh, good Lord. More difficult than I thought it'd be. There we go. Yeah, this is the car that finished 8th tonight. For those of you who the tape made it more aerodynamic. Yeah. This is amazing. This is, I don't know if it's amazing in a wow, that's crazy way, or this is amazing in a wow, that is terrible way. But this is the car that finished 8th in the Daytona 500. Good Lord. Good Lord. Wow. That is just incredible. I mean, pardon my Kyle Petty. That's incredible. Let's see what else we got here. Apparently, one of the car owners from JTG is the first woman car owner to win a Daytona 500. And Brad, I always pronounce his name wrong. Is it Daugherty or Daughtry? Brad Daugherty is the first African American car owner to win a Daytona 500. So pretty cool. Let's see. I get that. Okay. I know I complained a bit about the broadcast, and the broadcast deserved to be ripped up a little bit. But I am kind of getting sick of people ripping on the Daytona 500 or saying that it's not a legitimate way to forge a legacy in any way or win a race because it's a super speedway. Like, these guys all knew what they were going into with it. Okay, so yeah, 3:38:53 is the time of the race. I don't know where everyone's getting this 4-hour stuff from because NASCAR's official account. Oh, damn, wrong one. But NASCAR's official stuff is posting it as a 3-hour, 38-minute race. Let's see what else we got in here. I just want to, I want to make sure. Apparently, Brad Daugherty had some eye surgery recently. But he had to leave the track. Oh, he had to leave the track because the light was messing up his eye after that surgery. That's terrible. That sucks. Let's see. Looking for any other news here. If not, we might just call it here because I don't see the Daytona 500 really. I don't know. I don't see them taking a win away at the Daytona 500. Personally, it'd be too much of a PR blunder on NASCAR's part. We can stay live if you want. I know a lot of people want to. So just let me know what you want, and we'll keep this baby going. I'm surprised that inspection's taken this long, though. Honestly, like, I really am. But let's see what else we got. There's just, a lot of stuff's just slow coming out right now. Plus, well, okay, let's see what it says. Plus 4 hours if you would count from when NASCAR said the race would start. But they only count it from the start of the race. That's what they only count it from. I like this one. Scott asks, what is your personal highlight of the 500? I think my personal highlight is some of the aggressive moves out front, whether it be blocking or passing for the lead. So I think that would be my highlight personally, is that there was really great racing. And I think that people honestly shouldn't. I don't think people should go overboard in saying how bad it was. Yes, the ending was a little overboard with the crashing. I understand that. But the racing overall for 95% of this event was some of the best. And I don't think that I don't honestly think the crashing overall was that much of an issue of the overall race compared to the way that the commercial stuff was. But still, the racing should be remembered for how good it was rather than be remembered for the bad stuff, I guess. But looking in the chat here, Jonathan says, my highlight was that Hammond lasted longer this year than he did last year. Jury says, stay live. It's only 2:30 a.m. here. Race started 3:16 p.m. is what people are saying. So yeah, the official race time is like 3 hours, 38 minutes. Yeah, Fox will say it starts at a certain time, but Fox does not dictate when NASCAR counts a start of the race. The start of the race counts once the first car passes the start line. Just a random YouTuber says, Jarrett, how many different winners do you think we'll get this season? Overall, and not the regular season, if you say overall, I'll say 13 to 15. I don't think we're going to have as many as last year, personally. I think a lot of the better teams are going to pick up more on the next-gen car as the season goes on. But I do think that we're going to have a good amount of winners still, just because this car is, people, I know buddy Eric doesn't like me saying it like this all the time, but it's going to be chaos. There's going to be a lot of chaos. There's a lot of chaotic races in this season. The Chicago Street Race, the road courses like Indy Road Course. So I'd say 13 to 15 personally. I'm seeing some in the chat here on not 19, 14, 16, 12 to 13, 12. So I know people are probably going to think there's a lot. I don't think there'll be as many, but it'll still be a good amount. I like what Cody says here. It was competitive for majority of the race. Rarely single file, except preparing to get onto pit road. Too wide basically the whole time. Wasn't the crack 2020 package, but it was still exciting. Yeah, that package was was crackhead energy, 100%. Which don't get me wrong, I like that package, but I understand why people did not. Yeah, thank you to the mods, by the way, for controlling the spam. We are not very happy to have spam type here. See, this is what I don't get. So the website's saying 338. Now the media center saying 413. I'm sticking with 338 because that's what NASCAR said at first. We'll just roll with it as we go. God, that just sucks about Brad Daugherty that it just sucks that he can't be there to see his team win in NASCAR's biggest race. I know that it was a health deal and all, and I'm not saying otherwise. That sucks. And wow, I'm seeing an update from Kyle Busch. I'm not going to listen to the interview because I don't want to get any copyright issues here. But wow, Kyle Busch just looks done. He looks like last year's Kyle Busch. I'm sorry, it is kind of funny to watch, and I'm not saying that because I dislike Kyle Busch at all. I'm just saying it's funny overall. I know a lot of people picked him coming in here, and I'll be real, it looked like he was going to get it done. Let's see. Allie Miller says, notice how Fox didn't mention Stenhouse is in the playoffs because after 22, you can't really know anymore. That is true. That is true if I have ever seen a comment. You don't know, man. You don't know. I'm not saying Kyle Busch went all out and he was being just a sore sport, but it's just the look of it on his face is like, I'm done. This sucks. Like, not again. Or it's kind of like what a lot of the fans in the chat were saying, like, how freaking long is this shit gonna last? And what sucks is that Kyle Busch's car was one of the best ones in all of Speed Weeks. Then he got, in the duels, got turned by Suarez, had issues early in the race, came back from him, then ends up getting caught up in a crash again. Led coming to 2 to go, but the caution comes out for Suarez. Like, Suarez has a thing for going after him. So that's that sucks. It does. It sucks for Kyle Busch. Let me see. I think I have the playoff predictions somewhere in my desk that we did on the podcast, but I'm pretty sure all of them have been screwed up by this point already. I think Stenhouse just broke the. I don't have them on me, but I'm pretty sure none of us picked Ricky Stenhouse, or like only one of us did. I'd have to go back and look on the stream, but brackets already have been busted, and it's the first race of the year. But that's what NASCAR wants. That's what NASCAR wants. Has it? Kyle Busch is honest. He wears his emotion on his sleeve. Yeah. And you know what? That's the part that people love and hate about him. And to his credit, it makes him way more unique than a lot of drivers out there. And so I'm not going to take that away from him. Is what it is there. Let's see. Here's an update from Eric Almirola. Ran up front all day. Mistake-free day. Not enough luck. Going to be a great year with this number 10 Smithfield team. So, just kind of the standard NASCAR update. That's his update with it. Also, another update here. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has busted a 199 race losing drought in the Daytona 500. The fourth longest streak between wins in NASCAR history, and it was the longest losing drought among active drivers. And when you look at the longest all time, you have that were ended. He beat out Clint Boyer by 9 races. Then he got Stenhouse with 199, Truex with 218, Chris Buescher 222, Bill Elliott 226, and now the longest winless streak. I don't know how you count it. This is also from Peter Strata, by the way, who's in the chat a lot. So he's a friend of the channel. Awesome guy to follow as well. There's a lot of awesome people in this sport. The longest one at the moment it's showing is, no, granted, he's in the Xfinity Series now, not in the Cup Series, is Cole Custer at 90, then Michael McDowell 71, Brad Keselowski 62 races, Eric Almirola with 50, Ryan Blaney with 46, and Martin Truex Jr. with 44. So that's going to be interesting. Let's see what else we have here. Looking at some of the other ones. This update here from Connor Daly. Just didn't have a car to compete today. No rear view mirror from lap 1 either. Learned a great deal in the first 15 laps up in the top lane. Fun to race with the guys, or these guys, he's probably meaning. Cycled forward a bit, but then got dropped easily. Race was over from then on. Nice to make it up at the end to P29. So that's from Connor Daly. I know a lot of people are big fans of Connor Daly, so I figured I'd give you guys an update there. Let's see what else we have popping up. I'm just trying to catch everything everyone's saying, and then we'll, hopefully inspection will finish up pretty quick here. Because I'll be honest, I haven't had dinner yet, and it is my one off day from running and working out. So, no update from Bob Pockrass at the moment, but I would expect an update any moment now. Personally, let's see. A lot of people asking, even on Twitter, why not let the 3 cars race back to the line? And it's, again, because of safety. If there are some cars that are not racing under caution while the rest are, the safety crews still cannot enter the track until all cars are under caution. Irvin Alvarado, I see in there, 29th finish is not bad. He survived. And Allie is saying money team has no money. Napa Racing fan TMT was lousy. Spencer saying like catching fly balls in baseball. Is that let's see. Lil Mark, Floyd is broke. There's a lot of updates in here. Spencer says, okay, Daytona 500 is still trending, but dropped number 5, which that's okay. It was trending for much of the day. Number 1 on Twitter before. Number 1 on Twitter for like an hour or so after. And I'm not expecting 2 hours, almost 2 hours after, for us to have the number one trend in America still be the Daytona 500. Peter Strata also put this on Twitter. Again, Peter's a good friend of the channel. Awesome account to follow if you're on Twitter. Notable results from tonight: Riley Herbst, top 10 in his Cup debut in 10th. While it's a super speedway, still pretty cool to see. Travis Pastrana, 11th. Zane Smith, 13th. Cody Ware, 14th. So still a lot of good coming out of it. Noah Coleman says Austin Hill probably finishes on the lead lap. Just saying. I mean, that's the duels for you, though. The duels have been there for a long time. And did you see David Land's video title, 500 commercials at Daytona? Yeah, I mean, the commercials are going to steal this race. And, you know, you can say, yeah, not as many as usual, or about as many as usual if you're defending it, but then it's still an inexcusable amount. So that is what it is. By the way, click that like button. Let's see if we can get to as many likes as miles on this stream 530 for the 530 miles of Daytona. And we're going to keep looking for updates on here. Another quote from Travis Pastrana. This was one of the greatest couple of weeks of my life. So I have a feeling Travis Pastrana might come back to NASCAR sometime soon. God, the stupid skit from Michael Waltrip, Jamie Little, and Noah Gragson keeps popping up. I'm sorry, it's just not my favorite. A lot of the teams already, I'm seeing Bozy tweeting that he's already getting on a plane on the way home. So a lot of these teams are already heading home. I would expect any moment now for there to be an update on if Stenhouse passed inspection. If not, wow. This segment of Iceberg post-race show is brought to you by Puddingberg. I said pudding once. That's going to become a meme, isn't it? Pudding. Let's see. Owner points have been updated, but they're basically, for the most part, they're the same as the results. Looking at it, the guy who scored the most points today is Joey Logano. Joey Logano is your points leader, by the way, because of stage points and Chris Buescher not scoring as many. Stenhouse not scoring as many. So I'll read off the top 10 in owners' points at the moment. 22, 17, 47, 20, 48, 1, 12, 4, 16, 19. That's your owner's points at the moment. And again, we are just awaiting confirmation on post-race inspection, and then we can call it a night from there. But let's look at what else we have in the chat while we wait for that news to be official. We have Fly Like an Eagle. It's a Kyle Busch reference as much as it is a good song reference. Daytona International Airport is small, says Irvin. I haven't been there because the flights are a lot more expensive, I think, especially on Daytona week. But I have heard. Alex Bowman did get good points today. It's a good way to start. Good start for him this year after the pretty terrible ending of last year between the concussion and just not having enough time to really come back and have any rhythm. Let's see. RFK tweeted a bit ago. It's a raccoon with headphones on going, "I am studying, but the STU is silent." I know the guy that runs that account, and he's funny as hell. He is great with the memes. I'm gonna retweet that. That's funny. The Better Julian says, Joey going for another championship. I mean, I don't say why not. I mean, granted, I know he wins, gets to the Final Four in the even number of years and stuff, but I don't see any reason why Joey Logano wouldn't be considered a championship contender this year, especially with how good the Fords overall have been. Still more updating to go. Here's one. Sice says, what races are you going to this year? Well, I will for sure be at North Wilkesboro. Maybe Martinsville. In June, I'm going to go with some friends. I won't say who yet in case they don't want it confirmed. But I'm going with some friends and family to the Rockford Speedway one last time. Since I've moved, it's difficult to make it up back to the home track. But I want to see it one more time before it kicks the bucket, unfortunately. May have some pretty cool updates for that one coming up. The gateway race I'm planning on going to, Nashville Super Speedway. It's right in my backyard. Might as well go to that one. Maybe Chicago Street Course. I don't know just yet. I might have some cool stuff set up there. We're gonna keep TBA on that one. Maybe the second Atlanta race. Indianapolis, I really want to go to. I probably should talk to a few friends in Indianapolis about plans. Maybe Daytona. Maybe if I can't do Daytona, the Milwaukee truck race. If that can work out. Kansas for sure. Because that's one that I just go to as a fan with my dad. Maybe Bristol night race. Maybe if the Bristol night race stuff doesn't work out, the motocross race that same night at Chicagoland, because Chicagoland's coming back. I don't know about my travel plans yet, to be completely honest. But there's a good amount that I can still go to. I don't know yet. I know the confirmed ones are Kansas in September and I just said it, North Wilkesboro in May. Those are the two that are for sure I can go to, but I don't know yet. We're waiting again just to find out that the win is official or not. Wow, there's a lot of destruction. At the moment at the podium is the ownership group of JTG as well, outside of course, Brad, just because of his eye issue. Completely understandable. Lil Mark, by the way, Chicagoland is coming back for motocross racing in September, same night as the Bristol night race. So if you want to go to it, be sure to. I don't know if I can just because I now live across the country from it. But I see Meredith, you're saying you'll be at Kansas. I hope to see you there this September. Napa Racing Fan says NASCAR over NFL plus XFL plus USFL. These offshoot football leagues are going to be dead within the next 5 to 10 years anyway. No updates still. I'm surprised it's taken this long. Calvin, I was thinking about going to the Spring Phoenix race, but I'm glad you can go. I don't think I'm probably going to, just because of short notice and different things like that. But I'm probably going to go to more races towards the end of the year. So basically, it's going to go like this. Any race that I am not attending in person, I will be doing a post-race stream. Any of them I'm there as a fan, not as media, maybe I'll do a post-race stream from the track. Other than that, then I might start posting up shorts from there. Let's see what else we have here. Now we're talking about the Super Bowl. I tune out after my team's out, but is what it is. Alex says he might try to attend Homestead. I might do that too. When is the next Avenged Sevenfold album coming out? I wish I knew. Maybe 600. I mean, I'm doing a lot of traveling right before the 600, so I can't confirm anything. I'm seeing a lot of people already leaving Daytona, so I'm waiting for that official scoring, and then we will pop on out of here, and I'll let you all enjoy your night. I appreciate all you guys still sticking on here. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to. It means a lot seeing so many of you come in and out of this stream. Seeing that Lindsey Bell will be at Atlanta next month. Ricardo says, hope I can go to the Bristol night race. You have an uncle in Tennessee and you want to visit too, so go for it. Hot Piss asking if I'm going to Pocono. Maybe not this year just because of cost of travel and everything. That economy ain't cheap, man. But I do want to go to Pocono. Honestly, Pocono is quickly becoming one of my it's become one of my more favorite tracks. Just a random YouTuber asking, are you an F1 fan? If so, who's your favorite driver? Not really. I tried it. It wasn't my deal. I'm glad people like it though, and it seems like a lot of people are having fun with it. But I couldn't get into it personally. But it is popular with a lot of people now. Let's see what else we have here. I'm interested in looking at what everyone else is saying. I like what David put on Twitter here. Did Formula One really warp the commercial tolerance, or is it just this bad? I think it did, honestly, especially for motorsport fans. But I'm glad, because I think these networks need to be held to a higher standard, and I'm happy about it. Let's see. Oh my! I'm just looking at. I can't read all of these. I'm just reading some of these comments of what people are saying, and it is really funny to see what people are saying. See, Let's see what else we have in here. Chrome Diesel. I didn't know Pocono was your home track. You might have said that before. I'm just, like I said, I get very scatterbrained on these streams. Dalton Blake. Oh, wow. How that bad on the commercials, huh? I was at the race, and it was a pretty good race. I think it was a pretty good race, too. And for those who listen more on MRN instead of just watching the broadcast, they thought it was, too. I personally thought it was a really solid race until it became a wreck fest. So there's not much more I can ask outside of just don't become a wreck fest at the end and less commercials. And I think we'd be happy. I'm with GN NASCAR fan on this. The wide open coverage from TNT at the next deal at the minimum for the crown jewels, but that should be a thing. We can have the commercials take up the audio, but I don't think the commercials on even side-by-side should be taking up more of the screen than the racing itself. We're here for the racing. We're not here to, watch Whopper, Junior Whopper, something Whopper. Racing Reference had Stenhouse winning. Now they took it down. That's interesting. Let's keep an eye on that. That is interesting. Maybe they put it up too early. But I am surprised it's taking this long to get it updated. Let's see. Yeah, I'm surprised. I can double check just to be sure, but I would think that it was more because I would think it was more probably because they posted it too early. I would not be surprised if they just accidentally put it up too early. Then they're like, hey, these are still unofficial. Let's take it down before post-race inspection. But that is interesting if that is the case, if it's what they normally do and then had to take it down. That will definitely be something to watch moving forward. But I don't see anything outside of it yet. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything outside of just that comment you left that's saying anything is changed. And again, Spencer, this is only a Daytona 500 kind of special. We're not going to be this live every week. It'll probably be more like 45 minutes to an hour every week instead of NWP hours. We're talking about home. If we're talking about home tracks, at the moment is the fairgrounds for me because I'm only like 10 minutes away. Which I might be at a thing tomorrow for helping, for support for the fairgrounds. Let's see what else we have. Bring back NASCAR Race View. I like that. I like that idea. It still says Stenhouse winning. So yeah, they do the post race inspection and then they'll pop it up. That it's confirmed that they win, because the last thing we want is somebody getting a win and then having it taken away and everyone thinks that person won. They tune in the next week and, oh yeah, by the way, we took that guy's win away. Let's see. Wow. Another one from Avery on Twitter. Last 3 Daytona 500 winners have a combined 5 cup wins now. That is a crazy stat, to say the least. There's just a lot of crazy stats in here. I'll put it like this: if we hit a little over the 2-hour window and we have no update whatsoever, we will probably end this, just because I don't want to be on here for 3 hours tonight. I think it'd be overly redundant. We'll talk too much about the same things over and over again. But we got the official race results at the moment up top. If they change, we'll let you know. But there will be videos all week too, and the NASCAR Weekly podcast on Black Flags Matters channel, and NASCAR Cup Series coverage on IDK Players channel that I'll be co-commentating for. So I'm getting my broadcasting talking voice ready, as there's a little thing of fuzz in the air right in front of me. Camera probably can't pick it up, but I sure as hell did. Let's see, low-key mad because low-key mad because last second my pre-race pick was Bubba over Stenhouse in fantasy. Ooh. Sorry, my voice is starting to hurt a little bit, so I want to make sure. I agree with Allie. Cindric definitely won't stay at 1 win. That, to me, would be surprising, to say the least. And I don't see that happening. Let's see. Double check on Bob's Twitter again. Nothing at the moment. I did wait. There was a GN NASCAR says there's a Mr. Beast blimp at Daytona. I saw Mr. Beast was at the race today, but I am surprised that I didn't know there was a blimp of his today. Oh, here's Maxwell in the chat. Bowman would have won had there been another 5 overtimes. Trust me. Oh, I bet that would have made Danny happy. I know that for sure. Bowman was a lot more competitive in this Daytona 500 than I remember him being in 500s before this, though. So I'm honestly was really impressed by Bowman just because he has not had that kind of luck at these tracks. Right now, my Twitter feed is... Wow. Okay, so Jordan Bianchi had tweeted this out. With Continental as your sponsor, of course you're going to celebrate by throwing bathroom tissue in Victory Lane. One roll even bounced off the head of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s wife, Madison, who took it in stride and laughed. And there's a picture in Victory Lane of a bunch of toilet paper everywhere. They basically TP'd the damn place without actually TPing it. But you know what that reminds me of is back in 2007 when Jeff Gordon was going both to tie and then pass Dale Earnhardt. And Junior had actually asked at Talladega, hey, if Jeff wins, can you please throw toilet paper instead of beer cans because we don't want to have a dangerous situation? Well, only like 3 or 4 rolls of toilet paper were thrown, but it reminds me of that. And I cannot imagine had JTG been sponsored and around as competitive back then as they are now, if that happened, what their social media would have done to take advantage of it, because that would have been a perfect opportunity to take advantage of it. Like, Continental, the more peaceful way to throw shit on track. Yeah, toilet paper. That's what Dale Jr. asked them to do. And I'm seeing a lot of Beavis and Butthead references in the chat. And yes, Noah, Junior Nation was pretty pissed that night. From Diesel, hey Jarrett, I was there to see Junior win Pocono for the first time. That's awesome. That is awesome. Those are such underrated wins in his career, honestly, that I wish they'd get more recognition. Let's see. Yeah, we're just a few others. Don't throw beer. Throws beer anyway. That's 2007 on back NASCAR fans for you, though. That used to be almost a regular thing back in the day. Mr. Beast Racing Team incoming. Maybe they can give some money to the money team. Give a little better funding so their cars will not be broken off the truck. There's another meme I see. Oh boy, I'm excited to watch Kyle Busch, and it's Kyle Busch's car the first half to the number. Then the rest of the number is I'm gonna off myself. Let's see what else we have here. Wow, another pick. I'm gonna pop another pick on stream from. I'm gonna save it and send it to myself so I can get it on here. From Peter Strata at the track. All credit to him on this picture. It's Denny Hamlin's car at the end of the night, and my goodness, this is a hell of a lot of damage on this car. Like, this thing needs some Flex Seal. Let's see if we can get this popped up on screen for you guys, just like we did with the Blaney car. It's gonna be on-air production meetings. We're just gonna have a little. Bear with me, but we're gonna pop this on stream, and so you guys can see what it's looking like. All right, so hurrying up, getting it down. Let's name it Denny, and then should be it. And there you go. Yeah, this is Denny Hamlin's car at the end of the night. And good Lord, that's a lot of damage, especially look at that tire there in the front. Let's see. Any more updates while we're looking at this? No updates at the moment, but wow, that is insane. That is insane to see. Guys, we're hitting that window right now, so we're gonna have any last comments pop in. I don't see them calling this official anytime soon, and believe it or not, my computer is on fire right now, so I don't want to burn this thing up before Wednesday. So we're gonna keep it live until the 2-hour mark, which is only a couple minutes. If we don't get any update from there, I will leave an update in the chat if needed. Thank you, Cody, for the 5. Do you think this win saved Ricky's Cup career? His performance would lead to think that he's about to be out soon. I don't know about saved it. I don't think he's going to get a ride that's better than this car from this win. But I do think that it is definitely a good showing to show like he's not washed by any means. You can't as much as I do love the Daytona 500, you can't take much when it comes to driver talent away from it. But what was the final score in the Madden simulation last night? I can't remember off the top of my head. Call the Iceberg Fire Department near you. I mean, yeah, there's a fire department right down the road, so if I need it, then they'll be here quick. And there's a window right back there, so it ain't like I'm gonna be in too much danger. It's just the computer would be in danger. But let's get any final super chats or chats in. Get some final thoughts on tonight. And again, Wednesday night, Black Flags Matters channel, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And the NASCAR Cup Series will be on IDK Players channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Time as well for Atlanta. I'll be co-commentating that one. A lot of talking. You're going to hear my voice a lot more than just tonight. The rest of the year, we're going to be doing more 45-minute to an hour streams. But either way, we're going to have a lot of fun this year. We're going to cover a lot of stuff. GN NASCAR Fan 24 is going to be at Fontana this coming weekend. This will be a good poll we can put in here. Which, by the way, speaking of polls, vote on the poll on my community tab. But I'm going to put this as my last poll of the night. And I'm not going to put pudding on this one. There you go. Poll is up. And there we go. Let's finish this up. And we'll have a good night. Have some fun from here. Fun season's probably going to be coming up, y'all. I think there's going to be a fun season. And there's a lot that could happen. No pudding option on this one. No pudding option. But I'm going to ask, are you going to miss 2 Mile Fontana? Yes, no, or are you just indifferent on the whole damn thing? Me, personally, I will miss it, even though I do want the short track. I like the short track option. Dopey Anteater, thank you for the $4.99. What do you think will happen when Denny and his FedEx and JGR contracts expire? So when all those contracts expire, I mean, Denny is not getting any younger. They're still up in the air, I think, about if he will be, if FedEx will be coming back at the end of the year, what his contract's looking at. If he doesn't have sponsorship, I could see him driving for his own team. But I think they'll get it done still. But I don't want to, after Kyle Busch last year, I don't want to confirm anything because, well, I don't think any of us thought this time last year Kyle Busch wouldn't be in the number 18. Oh man, apparently the early forecast is rain all week in Fontana until Sunday morning. Getting flashbacks to that 2008 Weeper race. Yeah, that's gonna be rough. We'll let the poll go up for a little longer, and then we're gonna head on out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for all the support you guys have shown. We're gonna have a great year. Gonna be a lot of fun. We're just gonna keep again looking for any updates as this poll finishes up. I'm gonna take a few things out of OBS, that way we're not burning up my computer. I don't have a giant PC like a lot of people would. Speaking of funny things from the weekend, this was my favorite picture so far I've seen from this weekend, though. Sad crew guy from the truck race on Friday night. I think this guy for me was probably the funniest, the funniest image I saw from the night. But you know, I think I'm not seeing any updates. Poll's about run its course. I don't know about you guys, but I think that'll probably call it for tonight. Let's see, Chatty Laddie, thank you for the 10. To be honest, I really wish Cindric had got back-to-back Daytona 500 wins. He was running top 10, almost top 5 all day. I would have liked that too, but is what it is. We're going to end this poll here at 3 minutes. 69 nice percent of you, or no, 68 it says, but it was 69 are going to miss the 2-mile Fontana. And y'all, it's been a fun night, but we got to call it quits here. It is 9 o'clock on the East Coast, 6 on the West, 8 in Central, and in the mountains it's 7. We're going to call it a night, and we're going to see you guys on Tuesday on IDK Players channel, Wednesday on Black Flags Matters channel. No matter what, it's going to be a great week, season, everything like that. I'm excited to see what we have in store. Until next time, have a good one. Later, guys.